Hey, so I thought I would restart my whole YouTube thing once again, because why not? Now that I have another motorcycle in my garage, I thought I want to update you guys with what's going on. So, firstly, I'd like to again speak about my Interceptor 650. My name is Kesaria, as I said before, and yeah, if you've seen the previous video, you would notice that there's a lot of changes that have been made to her since the last time you guys would have seen her. Firstly, she doesn't have the full system exhaust. She has a really cool slip-on. I shall speak about that in a bit. And she has clip-ons now. And these don't look like your normal GD650 clip-ons. But before I speak about any of that, I would like to explain why I made these changes in the first place. Now, in the past few months of riding motorcycles, I have realized the kind of motorcyclist that I am. I prefer motorcycles that have a lot of feel, character to them, but are fast, aggressive, But the funny thing is, when it comes to that fast word, I don't prefer a motorcycle that can go, 200 kilometers an hour or more than that. When I say fast, I'm talking about a motorcycle that makes it feel like I'm going fast. A motorcycle that makes 40 feel like 100, then rather 100 feel like 40, is far more, enjoyable to me as a rider. So once I came to that conclusion, I realized that the Interceptor is not designed to be that motorcycle for me. It's supposed to be an old school, retro, lovely, charming. Some people might call it little, but it's a huge motorcycle to me. But yeah, it's a lovely, charming motorcycle. And once I realized that, I just removed all those parts from it and wanted to make it feel like what it's meant to be. So I sold all the power tonics, the air filter and everything, and the full system. And all the money has been invested. I say invested, my parents called it a waste of money, on my other motorcycle, which I will speak about in a bit. But the changes that I have made to this motorcycle now have come with a fair amount of thought to it. For example, these amazing, amazing slip-ons designed by Grease House from Indie Motard. So the really cool thing about these pipes is that there is literally no baffling in them. It's basically a straight pipe. I mean, the exhaust still has a catalytic converter, but otherwise it has no muffling in it whatsoever. So this exhaust is like so loud and it's just so angry the whole time. And I have to say, as an owner of a PowerH, ex-owner of a PowerH full system exhaust, this is much louder than that. And I can guarantee you that this is far louder than your Red Roosters, Good Works, AEWs, all of them. This is far, far louder. I'll rev it in the end, but I can guarantee you that this is far louder than all of those. Another thing is the clip-ons. Now, the deviation from a handlebar, like a normal Interceptor handlebar, to a clip-on is quite the big change when it comes to how the motorcycle feels. And the thing is, having clip-ons, even though it is a lot more painful in the long run, if you ride, let's say like me, around 40 kilometers a day, the reward that it gives you in the way that you can input your directions into the motorcycle is unbelievable. With your weight further onto the bike, you can, slightly finesse the handlebar a lot more. You can use in more of your body. It feels more natural to me as a rider. And along with the clip-ons, the foot pegs obviously had to be changed to the GT650 because it, with further leaned out clip-ons, you require slightly higher up areas just to balance out the riding triangle. I'll just sit on the motorcycle show you guys how that feels. So yeah, it looks so much cooler now. It's so sleek. It feels so flat from the top. And you can just, properly lean down, tuck in. It just feels so, so nice. So, as you guys might have noticed, these clip-ons aren't the GT651. These are actually R15 clip-ons. Now, the reason why I chose the R15 clip-ons is one, because they're hella cheap compared to the GT650. The GT650 clip-ons cost around 9K. This costed hardly like 500 resets, so like 1,000 rupees. That's a huge difference in price. And the thing is, these are true clip-ons in the sense that they are parallel to the attachment point onto the forks itself. So if they attach over here, the clip-ons come directly sideways to it. Whereas the GT650 clip-ons, it attaches at the bottom, but it goes up and then the handlebar portion comes out. So it's like the clip-on but slightly raised up, which is not what a true clip-on should be. So these are the R15 clip-ons. These are the V3, the version 3 R15 clip-ons. And the reason why it's the V3 is because the fork measurement or the diameter of the fork on the Interceptor 650 is 41 mm, which is the same as the R15, which made it a perfect fit. Another thing is that, so I got this idea from a video that I watched on YouTube. I'll just link it somewhere. But yeah, but these are R15 clip-ons, and the thing is, in the video, what they did was they attached it to the top of the fork above the triple clamp. And the way they did that was by loosening the triple clamp, putting load on the suspension so that the forks come up, and then they attached the clip-ons on top. Now the reason why I didn't do that, because I didn't want to mess up the overall geometry of the motorcycle. So I just wanted to play it safe. I removed the triple clamp, slid in the R15 clip-ons, and just tightened it back on, and it basically fits. I have a KTM's adjustable lever that I had lying around, so I put that because why not? It's just an adjustable lever is obviously better than a non-adjustable lever, so it's just a lot better. So yeah, so even though I have lesser modifications on this bike right now than I did before, this motorcycle now feels a lot more satisfying as an experience than it did before to me. Which is the whole reason why you ride motorcycles, the experience and the way you feel on it. I'll just do a little sound check. Nice sound. So, this is technically the new member of the family, even though I've had him for a few months now. Now, most people would call their motorcycles a her, like I call my Interceptor, Kesaria, a she. But the thing is, my motorcycle Maverick, his name is Maverick, I'm 100% sure this is a dude. I'm not trying to be sexist here, but this motorcycle is so crazy, so angry, so raw, like it's just completely mental. That it feels like that rowdy dude, who doesn't like following rules, orders, and he just wants to scream and shout. So I'm sorry, but this motorcycle is a dude. And yeah, his name is Maverick. Now, the main purpose for this motorcycle, as I said previously with my Interceptor, is that the Interceptor didn't give me that feel of fast, or like my definition of fast. This does. As I said, going 40 on this motorcycle feels like you're going 100. The engine in this motorcycle is so raw, so aggressive, so angry. It just, it's just bubbling with excitement. And I have written the 2017 Duke 390 as well, the update after this one, the second gen. And the thing is, they have refined the engine, but the handling is a lot sharper. Now, that is a pretty scary combination for a new rider, as a smoother, calmer engine, but still plenty fast, will allow the rider to, push the motorcycle, at least engine-wise, a lot more. But when a corner comes, the second gen Duke 390 is very, very sharp and aggressive. That will catch you off guard as a new rider. But this motorcycle is the complete opposite of that. The engine is aggressive, raw, visceral experience. Whereas the chassis is very balanced, it's not too angry, it's not too sharp, it doesn't like, tip into corners that, you know, really aggressively, and doesn't scare you. So it allows you to build confidence with a very angry and powerful motorcycle as an engine. But when it actually comes to, a corner, it really, really holds you by the hand and, gives you a lot of confidence as you take a turn. Now this makes the perfect track bike in my mind. You can still use it on the road because, like on the street, because of the high raised handlebars and stuff. It has a very super motor, upright look to it. But yeah, this motorcycle just feels right to me as I ride it. The first time I rode it was such a nice experience. And yeah, so I bought this motorcycle secondhand from the place I work. I got it at a really good deal. So small specifics about this. It's a 2015 Duke 390. It had run barely like 6,000 kilometers. And if you guys know anything about your Duke 390s, is that 6,000 kilometers for a 2015 Duke 390, that's very less. You'd usually find them at like 20,000 kilometers plus, and the engines have been destroyed by their previous owners because that's the kind of motorcycle it is. People say that, oh, KTM's are for chopperies and all that, but the thing is, I can understand why. I'm not justifying the actions that they do, but I can see why now as an owner of this motorcycle. I can understand why they do stuff like that. This motorcycle just brings out that, it's funny to say this, but that almost primal feel in you. It just makes you want to just rip the throttle, do some crazy stuff with this bike, because it allows you to do that. And yeah, so this motorcycle is just amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. Now, I'd like to get onto like the paths that I've added to the motorcycle. If you notice, both the motorcycles that I own, they are far from stock in a way. So it has a BMC air filter. I had a K&N on the Interceptor before, that's gone. My Interceptor doesn't have a performance air filter. But this has a BMC air filter, performance air filter. This also has a grease house exhaust. This is the V5 Himalayan grunt exhaust. And it's amazing. The thing that I love about this pipe is kind of the opposite reason to that of the grease house exhaust from my Interceptor. With the Interceptor, I said there's no baffling, so it allows all of that noise, and the 270 degree crank engine on the Interceptor, it just sounds wonderful. Whereas the single cylinder engine on the Duke 390, I have to admit, isn't the nicest sounding thing. But yeah, so when you have a fully opened out exhaust on this motorcycle, if there was no baffling on this exhaust, it would affect the motorcycle characteristics quite a bit. In the sense that this Duke 390, the power feels really exciting and engaging after 6,000 RPM. Below that, it's like slow, not slow, but sluggish, very lethargic, and quite jerky. And at like 3,000 RPM, this thing jerks and shakes. It doesn't like that. Now, if you have a full system, free flow, no baffling, no back pressure, nothing, this motorcycle is close to being undrivable on the road. You have to use a lot of clutch and a lot of revving on the street. So the baffling in the exhaust, at least the back pressure that it causes with this grease house exhaust, it makes the motorcycle rideable while still giving that crazy performance on the top end. So it has that enough pressure to give it that grunt off the line without sacrificing all of that glorious top end that this full system exhaust allows. Now, most people who have ridden my Duke 390, they say, why did you put a quick throttle on it? A quick throttle basically means that 10% input on this throttle would have equal to, let's say, 30% throttle input on the older throttle. So, as I said, this motorcycle struggles with that low end 3000 RPM, slow stop and go traffic stuff. Now, a quick throttle basically allows you, without much effort of, twisting the throttle to rev it up in traffic, it allows you to move the throttle a little bit and keeps it, oddly enough, very comfortable as you ride the motorcycle. So yeah, the quick throttle it was honestly a really good addition to the motorcycle, at least in my opinion. However, the best modification that I have made on this motorcycle, it has nothing to do with power, it has nothing to do with the way it delivers power, is the tank grips that I've got over here. Tank grips are a life changer when it comes to riding a motorcycle. These are hardly like 500 rupees that I got off the internet, like off Amazon. They're KTM as well, KTM branded. Uh, yeah, so tank grips just allow you to hold the motorcycle with your thighs, which frees up and lightens up your hands, and allows you to turn the motorcycle a lot more freely. It gives you so much more confidence as a rider, and it's an upgrade that I would 100% recommend to anybody. So yeah, that's basically all the stuff that I've done to this motorcycle. Few more changes are coming up. The tires I'm running on this are Apollo Alpha H1s. I have Protox at home. The reason why I changed it to Alphas is because I'd gone on track and the Protox had a puncher on it and had that, the puncher plug. And the thing is, on track the tire heats up and then the plug falls off, so I didn't want to risk that, so I changed it to Alphas. And the Alphas and the H1s both cost around 11k each. Both are in the same ballpark. The Alphas, I would say, are more, I'm not a very experienced rider, but the Alphas are more aggressive when it comes to turning in because the sharpness of the angle of the tire is a lot more, so you can tip in the motorcycle quite a lot. Whereas the Protox have a slightly broader or let's say a less aggressive curve to it, so it's a more linear feel as you turn the motorcycle. So it's a pretty good. Honestly, if you have a motorcycle like this or have a motorcycle with these rim measurements so you can fit the tire, start with the Protox, build your confidence, go with the H1s after that so that you can push your abilities a bit more with the sharpness of the tire. But yeah, overall this motorcycle is so phenomenal, and it's almost everything what I wanted in a motorcycle in a way. I'll do a sound clip again, and ignore the smoke that comes. So yeah, these two are my two motorcycles that I own. I have a third one, technically speaking. I will speak about that later because that's quite a bit of a project. But otherwise, these two are the motorcycles that I'm using right now. And yeah, two truly phenomenal motorcycles. And I'm 99% sure I won't be planning on selling these two motorcycles anytime soon.